Thanks again for joining me here at But Now Ministry ORG, and we are actually going to start a new series, The Creator of Heaven and Earth. So there is a pretty good book. It's a New York Times bestseller by Simon Singh, Big Bang, The Origin of the Universe. It's hard to imagine a grander, more thrilling story, hugely entertaining, quite literally cosmic. The New York Times. Fascinating. Simon Singh loves storytelling and has a knack for digging up underappreciated characters. Singh spins out the drama with verve and wit, a perfect book for anyone who wants to know what science is all about. Scientific American. A rich picture of the practice of science itself. Singh never fails as a handholder through the history of the universe. Big Bang is not the first book to cover this ground, but it is undoubtedly one of the best. Seattle Times. Singh is a gifted writer, a good storyteller, and he knows how to describe and explain complex and esoteric subjects. San Diego Union Tribune. Inimitable. There is no better account of the Big Bang Theory. Publishers Weekly. A clear, lively, and comprehensive view of the way science arrived at the leading theory of how everything began. Kirkus Reviews. You can know the universe these days without knowing the Big Bang. Singh's book is a fine place to make its acquaintance. Discover Magazine. As in his previous books, Mr. Singh, even the most complicated ideas with subtlety, grace, and wit. Exemplary. The Economist. Highly readable. Singh brings the colorful protagonist in his story to life. New Scientist. Simon Singh casts a celestial light at the origins of the universe in this essential look at how our world came to be. Imagine taking a trip through time and beyond the stars with the cosmic philosophers, from Pythagoras and Copernicus to Einstein and Hubble, as travel companions, and an expert but friendly guide to help you decode their mysteries with crisp, clear running commentary. Sylvia Nasar, best-selling author of A Beautiful Mind. This book is a blast. You would expect Simon Singh to be cosmic, mind-expanding, and magnificent with history and ideas. But besides all that, who knew that the Big Bang could be so much fun? James Gleick, best-selling author of Chaos. Singh gives science a deeply humanistic, humorous, down-to-earth spin. This is an epic tale brilliantly told, packed with courage and tragedy, heroes and martyrs with one or two jokers in the pack. Daily Telegraph. Singh's brazen use of actual science is useful for two reasons. How about that? And you know why we get that? Because there is no quality insurance anymore when these things are being published. Okay? I have a friend who was in quality insurance. Okay? They checked the quality of a product before it was released. They got rid of that. They got rid of that department. And this was 20 years ago. Okay? Probably 30 years ago, actually. And that is why she left the profession she was in, because there was no quality insurance anymore. And if you look at articles nowadays, you will see the same thing. You will see typos, you will see punctuation wrong, you will see grammar wrong, just like this. Because they're not checking it. Singh's brazen use of the actual science is useful for two reasons. First, it affords a respect to the reader so often missing from, wow, isn't science cool? Books and shows exactly what the scientists of yesteryear were dealing with when they came up with their ideas. Second, it shows science for what it is, ideas, arguments, and ultimately the consensus of the establishment. And that's from Guardian. Singh is a very gifted storyteller who never misuses the chance to make his subject clearer or more entertaining. A brilliant book, Independent on Sunday. Singh's unerring eye for picturesque anecdote and his capacity for simplifying complex scientific ideas is a winning formula. Sunday Telegraph. Anybody who wants to understand this wonderful achievement will not do better than starting with Singh's book, The Daily Mail. And last two reviews. Singh is a gifted expositor, ready to venture to places other science popularizers don't even try to reach. And again, Mail on Sunday. And Singh is one of the best science journalists writing today. With his impressive gift for explaining extremely difficult physics, he takes us on a very human intellectual journey in pursuit of the origins of the universe, and insists that cosmology is not just for the eggheads. It is possible, and indeed essential, for us all to share in the insights of the great physicists. The Sunday Times, London. The Big Bang, the origin of the universe. This is what one pastor said. Bible believers would do well to hear what science, falsely so-called, is saying, rather than being intimidated by it. This outstanding book reveals that the Hubble constant may be in error, and scientists know it, and that one fact calls scores of theories into question. When you read the theories of the universe, origin from the earliest times until now, you will learn that the only difference is today's witch doctors wearing nicer clothes. Singh does an amazing job of explaining complex concepts in understandable narrative, and you'll be amazed at how much you get out of this book and how few pages are over your head. Sometimes funny, often profound, never once was my Bible faith even challenged. Rather, this book demonstrated to me the trustworthiness of God's words and the transience of so-called science. Here's a fun example from page 334. Scientist George Gamow estimated God lived 9.5 light years away because the Russo-Japanese War had begun in 1904, and after much prayer that year, it was not until 1923 that an earthquake hit Japan. From that, he deduced that at the speed of light, it took 9.5 years for prayers to get to God, and 9.5 years for God's answer to get back to earth. How's that for science, falsely so-called? The origin of the universe, Big Bang. Let's see what the Bible has to say about the creator of heaven and earth. But if you want to get an understanding of what science has to say, Simon Singh's book is an excellent read. That way you know what your enemy is, and then you will be more confident as to what you believe. And as a Christian, you need to understand all of Christianity. And I've said this in other messages. If you're a plumber, you need to know your job completely. If you're a writer, you need to know your job completely. If you are a Christian, then that means you're an ambassador, and you need to know your job completely. What are your enemies? Who's on your side? You need to know your job completely. So, the creator of heaven and earth. Let's start with creator. 5 verses in our 1769 King James Bible, God's perfectly preserved words without one error. The Old Testament. And it does not come from the Gutenberg Bible like someone said. That's a heinous error. Sorry. Old Testament. So we go to Old Testament doctrine to learn about our creator. Okay? This is doctrine for Israel. And in Ecclesiastes and in Isaiah, Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Isaiah 40, verse 28. Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. And Isaiah 43:15. I am the Lord, your Holy One, the creator of Israel, your king. That's right. God only made one religion, and that is Israel. So if you're wondering where all these other religions come from, there is a devil out there. But now, and that's what's going on today, right? But we can go to Romans chapter 1, which is where Paul is giving us a history lesson, okay? Romans 1:25, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worshiped and served the creature more than the creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. And then we go to the New Testament, Hebrews to Revelation, Acts 1 through 8 is New Testament doctrine for Israel. 1 Peter 4:19, wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of God commit the keeping of their souls to him in well-doing as unto a faithful creator. Notice, creator is capitalized, okay? In all those verses I read you, except for when it says the creator of Israel, it is capitalized. And when we go to Webster's 1828 dictionary for definition, and why do I use the Webster 1828 dictionary for definition? It's before the corruptness of Westcott and Hort in 1881, okay? Capital, literally pertaining to the head, as a capital bruise in Milton, a bruise on the head. Figuratively, as the head is the highest part of a man, chief, principal, first in importance, as a capital city or town, the capital articles of religion. And that is basically the meaning of a word when it's capitalized, okay? Punishable by loss of the head or of life, incurring the forfeiture of life, punishable with death, as treason and murder are capital offenses or crimes. Taking away life as a capital punishment, or affecting life as a capital trial. It's like in your face. It is the final authority, right? Great important, though perhaps not chief, as a town possesses capital advantages for trade. Large of great size as capital letters, which are of different form and larger than common letters. Capital stock is the sum of money or stock with a merchant, banker, or manufacturer employs in his business. Either the original stock or that stock augmented. Also the sum of money or stock which each partner contributes to the joint fund or stock of the partnership. Also the common fund or stock of the company, whether incorporated or not. A capital city or town is the metropolis or chief city of an empire, kingdom, state, or province. The application of an epithet indicates the city to be the largest, or to be the seat of government, or both. In many instances, the capital, that is, the largest city, is not the seat of government. Capital as a noun, the uppermost part of a column, pillar or pilaster, serving as the head or crowning, and placed immediately over the shaft and under the entablature. By the customary omission of the noun to which the adjective capital refers, it stand for the chief city or town in a kingdom or state, a metropolis, a large letter or type in printing, a stock in trade, in manufactures, or in business requiring the expenditure of money with a view to profit. It is a word of importance, right? Great important, okay? Paul mentions the word chief twice. Okay, because he says a capital city or town is a metropolis or chief city of an empire, right? Paul mentions the word chief twice. Ephesians 2:20, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Jesus Christ himself being the chief cornerstone. And 1 Timothy 1:15, this is a faithful saying and worthy of all acceptation, that Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am chief. Okay? That goes back to the importance of words being capitalized in your 1769 King James Bible. Just like the word Lord that is in the Bible, it's capital Lord. Okay? That is very important. And that's why I'm emphasizing the importance of capitalization and chief. Chief in your Webster's 1828 dictionary. Highest in office or rank. Principal as a chief priest, the chief butler. So here, Jesus Christ himself is the chief cornerstone. He's the highest in rank. And then look, the opposite end of the spectrum, the Apostle Paul was the chief of sinners, the worst, the highest in rank of sinners. Okay? Principal or most eminent, among the chief rulers, many believed on him. John chapter 12. And that's the other reason why I use the 1828 Webster's Dictionary. He has Bible verses. They're not dispensational, but he has Bible verses. Principal are most eminent, in any quality or action most distinguished, having most influence, commanding most respect. Excuse me. Taking the lead. I just need a drink of water. Most valuable, most important, a word of extensive use as a country chief in arms. The hand of the princesses and rulers hath been chief in the trespass. Ezra chapter 9. Agriculture is the chief employment of men. First in affection, most dear and familiar. A whisperer separateth chief friends. Proverbs number 16. Chief as a noun, a commander, particularly a military commander. The person who heads an army. Equivalent to the modern terms, commander or general-in-chief. Captain, general, or generalissimo. 1 Chronicles chapter 11. The principal person of a tribe, family, or congregation. Numbers chapter 3, Job 29, and Matthew 20. In chief, in English law, in capite, to hold land in chief is to hold it directly from the king by honorable personal services. In heraldry, chief signifies the head or upper part of the eschaton, from side to side, respecting a man's head. In chief imports something born in this part. In Spencer, it seems to signify something like achievement, a mark of distinction, as chaplets wrought with a chief. This word is often used in the singular number to express a plurality. I took the chief of your tribes, wise men and known, and made them heads over you. Deuteronomy 1:15. These were the chief of the officers that were over Solomon's work. 1 King 9. In these phrases, chief may have been primarily an adjective, that is, chief men, chief persons. The principal part, the most or largest part of one thing or of many. The people took of the spoil, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed. 1 Samuel 15. He smote the chief of their strength. Psalm 68. The chief of the debt remains unpaid. Chief as an adjective, chiefly. Okay? So Cornerstone has 11 verses. Before Genesis, and I think we're going to stop there, okay? Because that's a lot. And Cornerstone has 11 verses. And we are going to discuss that next, because the creator of the universe is all of this. Okay? His words are capitalized. He is the chief. He is the cornerstone. And that's what makes him the creator of the universe. If you have any doctrinal questions, email me from my website, from the contact page at preachingthegospelthatsaves.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channels. Subscribe to my bookstore blog. and thanks for listening.